Edition of the Beach Report. Well, we're not on the beach today. We're close to it. It's
We're
not
close.
far away from here.
The Atlantic Beach.
But yeah, and Dave and I are usually at the beach.
On the
but,
Gulf
yeah,
Beach.
we're on the Gulf Beach. But
now-
today we're on the East Coast. And we're in a house, so we don't have to worry about any kind of bugs or any.
itchy and scratchy.
Yeah, we get itchy and scratchy. It gets bad. Anyway, I thought it was really important that we do a show today because Dave is my resident expert on the economy, and
trained.
Yes, but in a biblical way. He doesn't look at the economy like a financial expert. Let's look at the numbers here. He actually takes into account the fact that it's God-given.
Exactly, because that's how He provides for us.
Exactly.
If we're acknowledging that.
That's true.
It's true whether you like it or not.
Well, and that's the thing about providing for us. So every other creature on earth, everyth's provided for them. What about us?
That's exactly what Jesus said.
Yeah.
Is that the birds in the field, the little lambs on the grass. It's God that provides, and that's actually the lesson He's trying to teach to all of us.
And it's time we learned it.
We're going to, one way or another. Yeah.
Okay, let's backtrack a little bit and tell me about just a quick history of money.
Okay, well, we were discussing this earlier, and it always comes up. You've heard something called the Babylonian
money system.
Yeah. And we've actually been living under this kind of thing to one degree or another for several thousand years. It's a concept of money and economy that it's actually in opposition to God's idea for our money.
And we're going back all the way back to the times of the Jews in Babylonia, right?
Goes back before
that,
because they were already running.
Right. Okay. So I don't know that history all the way to the very beginning.
Babylon had to already be there in order to even draw the Jews.
Okay, so it was there first. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So, but what it was literally a debt enslavement system where through sneaky money manipulation, remember Jesus literally once kicked the ass.
Right, the money changers.
And he said some words that were worse than anything we could ever imagine for the day.
Yeah.
The things that he called them in the original Hebrew and or translated into the New Testament Greek was worse than anything I could come up with.
Well, if you think about it, though, it is so despicable to take somebody's livelihood, your life, and start, winnowing it down to just money. And so this is what we're in today.
Well, that's the point.
Where people can't afford housing. They can't afford to live. They have to have 50 jobs in order to feed some kids that they don't even consider kids as their job. Kids are your job.
Exactly.
Sorry.
And the whole design intent of the Babylonian money system from the very beginning was to literally thieve away a family's finances.
It's communistic.
It's worse than that.
It's worse than that.
It's literally financial enslavement.
Yeah.
And remember, money is not evil. The
love of
money
is the
evil.
Right.
And so these people that were literally used by Satan to steal from everybody else instead of being a productive, happy person living their lives, providing for their family.
Oh, yeah.
You can't allow those people to have happy, productive lives, living wealthy and prosperous, and all through the whole Bible, starting from, one of the first things God did for Abraham before there even was an Israel was I want to bless you like crazy, and you're gonna be blessed from here on out and for as many generations as you can't even count in the stars.
Well, the Garden of Eden was everything here. Here it is, all provided for you.
So now that you bring that up, that would be the actual beginning of the Babylonian debt slave system.
Wow, when the snake came and told Eve.
Deceived her into doing some things
Goes all the way back to
that God was trying to protect them from, so that he could take control over them. It's a control system.
Wow.
And deceptively so, and the control system we're under now in the financial realm is actually worse than the chains and the cells and the beatings that the Israelites were under during several thousand years ago. And the reason that it's worse is because, well, most people are suddenly realizing, but many people up until of late didn't even realize that we were under such a horrendous burden.
That's right. It's all of a sudden is dawning on people. And I often look at it like, so apathy seems to be the worst crime of all. To be at a low point that is just above horrible, but you can deal with it.
Well, and the apathy is partially purposely induced.
Exactly.
In order to enslave even deeper.
Exactly.
And so, for example, and we've spoken about this before, a married couple starts a family. They buy a house, but then under this system, 50 years ago, a $65,000 house, they end up having to spend $1 million of their hard-earned money on the house, their provision, which literally sucks the life out of their family and what they can do for and with their children, and then all of a sudden they don't quite know why, but the number one argument between husband and wife often is over money. And that's because of the Babylonian debt slave system.
Wow.
For example, a house. I mean, anybody knows this. A house isn't supposed to be brick and mortar. A house is supposed to be a home.
Right.
A place of peace, a place of rest. I mean, it's used throughout the Bible.
Tranquility. It's supposed to be your escape, your place where you feel the best.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you superimpose,
no place like home, right?
Right. If you superimpose a lifelong debt servitude, literally designed to be impossible to ever pay back. And apartments are even worse. It doesn't matter if you rent or buy.
Right.
The bulk of your day's labor is, in whatever form that might be, even if you're highly paid, the bulk of your day's labor is going to pay interest. And that's the key. So the interest is siphoned out of everything. The interest is siphoned through taxes.
Right.
In fact, we're definitely now over $1 trillion every year, an unimaginable number.
Wow. It is unimaginable, those numbers.
Yeah, $1 trillion is something like...
What is $1 trillion?
Let's see. Oh, what was it? I've heard Bo Polney bring it up, 100 times. So let's say it took you 12 days to count to $1 million. You're going to count $1 million. It'll take you 12 days, 24/7. Let's say it takes you... something like 12 years to count to a billion. Well, it's going to take you, actually I think it's more than that, but it'll take you 1,000 times that to count to $1 trillion.
Wow.
So you're
just sitting there.
You're talking between 12, depending on how fast you count.
That's a cool way to look at it.
It'll be between 12 and 30,000 years to count to $1 trillion.
Time is money, right?
Yeah.
So while you're counting all that money, you're losing all your time.
So right now, the Babylonian debt slave system, and it's real. It is literally for real.
It's real.
And how that happened is obviously there's a spiritual realm that we live within in this physical world.
Yeah.
The spiritual realm has perpetuated this thing through evil money-grubbing people, such that the wealth extraction effect of the Babylonian debt slave system over just the United States is over $1 trillion a year. So there's 32,000 years worth of wealth extracted 24/7.
Imagine
every 12 months.
If every link in that chain was, wow, what would that look like?
Well, for one thing, we would live in, literally it would be heaven on earth. And that's what God wants to bring. He doesn't want people starving to death,
right,
living on the streets, and then part of what perpetuates the whole thing is that the bigger the government gets, the more wealth is extracted from the people, the greater the taxes get, the more the taxes go to interest. Oh, just this morning, I happened to run across a news broadcast, and let's see, it was this July's total tax receipts, 3/4 of which ended up going to interest.
Wow.
It's literally impossible to ever repay.
So it's like it's a big scam. It's just a big scam.
It is.
It's like a Ponzi scam on steroids.
It's literally a Ponzi scheme. It was first devised thousands of years ago. Obviously, elements of it go back to the deception of the garden, but then obviously refined, and then as money came along. Now, the primary mechanism of this thing is the money itself. What is the money?
What is the money indeed?
Actually, it's nothing. It's simply.
Is this money? Is this paper?
It's not even paper anymore. It's literally an invisible chain.
It's in the cloud.
Literally in the electronic computer
the fake cloud that we call the cloud. That is not a cloud. But Kamala thinks it's a cloud, so it's a cloud.
Yeah, she thinks a lot of things. It's in the electronic ethereal cloud,
right,
such that it doesn't even exist on paper. So we don't even have the paper as a limitation to the depth of the theft anymore.
No, what are they doing to us now? What fresh hell awaits us with this system?
If it was limited by paper, I think $1 trillion is something like, if you stacked $1 trillion $1 bills, you'd go to the sun and back, or
That's
the moon
insane.
and back, or something.
It's just insane.
I mean flat.
Yeah. It's
and
ridiculous. It makes my head spin.
There aren't enough trees on planet Earth to actually print out $1 trillion. Yet we're 32 trillion in debt. So let's see, 32 trillion times 32,000 years. It goes beyond my math.
So it's not even real. It's not even real. It's like this fairy tale, and we're supposed to believe in it.
It's a lie.
But what if we don't believe it anymore? Then what happens?
Well, then we get back to reality.
Yeah.
And then our trust in our money, our trust in our dinner, our food, our provision for our family, or ourselves, has to revert back to God the Father himself.
Exactly.
Instead of the deception of hell.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And what happens to the purveyors of hell?
Well, the Bible says the
money changers, if you will.
They go away, hide in a rock, and we never see them again.
Okay.
So,
all righty.
Because see, they won't have their power. Will have their power, which doesn't exist in the first place.
Right.
Will have vanished.
Are they the corporatocracy too? Or
it's all part of it.
It's all part of it.
The entire stock market is the same way. It's and we've discussed this before.
Yep.
The entire stock market, it's in everybody's retirement account agreements. It's in everybody's brokerage account agreements. That we do not actually even own the stocks in these accounts. We sort of, on a legal basis.
But in reality, we own everything.
Yeah, because God gave it to us.
Right.
But
they're telling us you'll own nothing and like it.
Exactly. But see, now that's the crux of the problem. Because God gave everything on earth, all the good stuff, everything, the beautiful animals, the plants, the land, the oceans, God gave everything to us as an Adam and Eve and all their descendants.
Stewards, if you will.
Exactly. He won't allow himself to take it back. We literally have to take it back. We have to choose not to live under the slave system anymore.
Because we have free will and we free willed ourselves into the slave system. We've got to free will ourselves out of the slave system.
And that's why the collapse of everything that's becoming more and more obvious.
It's imminent, guys. It's imminent.
But that's why it's such a good thing, because it gives us a new chance to start all over again.
Exactly.
As really, really difficult and potentially scary as it will be to most people that are unprepared.
Well, imagine you're living your life and you get in your car and you go to Starbucks and you buy your whatever latte, cappuccino, and you go to whatever the mall and so that's all going to be over. So
it'll be shocking.
that kind of life,
until you rebuild it again.
Yeah.
But
and I don't want to rebuild
time.
that again. I don't like that.
Not the way it's been, that's for sure.
It's smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, and that's the whole deception thing that's been behind it from the start.
So when I was a little girl, my very favorite author that is like my greatest idol in the world was Laura Ingalls Wilder in the Little House on the Prairie. And I thought how great it would be to just live off the land like that. I mean, they had it hard, but their lives were about survival, but a good survival for each other, for their community, and for, it wasn't all about who's got a bigger car or, that Wall Street job that, you're doing that is nothing.
Exactly. But see, part of all that is that was also part and parcel of the deception in the first place. In other words, as economic activity of daily life was part and parceled, was isolated from us as individuals, so that we no longer even, you ask the average grocery store shopper where their food comes from.
The grocery store.
What do you need farmers for? I get my food from the grocery store.
Exactly.
But
not realizing that everything in the grocery store today actually
had to grow somewhere.
Not just that it had to grow somewhere, but now it isn't. It's processed. Like you see your vegetables, you see you think that's water coming onto your vegetables. Oh, it's not water.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because each of those processing stages adds greater cost, greater debt, greater
harm.
Greater harm, greater burden to the transaction, and further isolates us from what God freely provides, or that we earn through our labor.
For instance, there's an apple tree. You walk up to it, you pick an apple off of it. You eat it. Yeah. It's delicious. It gives you vitamins, fiber, everything that you really need. Like you could literally live the whole day if you would just eat a few apples, and you wouldn't even really need anything else.
I just heard another prophecy thing today, and kind of reminds me of some of these sci-fi movies I used to love watching, where they actually had the Jetsons.
I love the Jetsons.
Remember the garden that would come down from the ceiling?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's
I literally designed...
Vertical farming, hello.
You've seen my own designs for vertical farming.
That's the coolest. That's the future, actually, of the world.
Yeah.
I think is,
And just this morning, I saw another... the fellow Brandon.
Yeah.
The fellow Brandon, the guy that had the vision of the bullet whizzing by Mr. Trump's right ear, which, by the way, as you must have seen, the rabbi's scriptural analysis of that.
Oh, with the ear and the right ear and how he's consecrated.
It was literally the consecration ceremony of a new national leader. They had blood on their right ear.
Wow.
Mr. Trump touched his right ear, got the blood on his right thumb, which he did. It's in the Old Testament, Chronicles, I believe. some of the blood dripped on his bare feet. Now he still had socks on.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
The blood dripped on his bare feet, and then part of Brandon's vision and several other well-known prophets said Mr. Trump would fall to his knees.
And have a kind of a reawakening.
During the consecration, the leader would fall to his knees. And then remember, he called out for his shoes. I need my shoes. I don't know how his shoes came off.
Because he got tackled by they tackled him right out of his shoes.
Yeah, well, except for the Secret Service that were hiding behind him.
Yeah, the hiding ones.
Oh my God, I might get shot.
Yeah, well, they're still working for the Secret Service. You know how I know that? Because I saw that little woman that couldn't holster her gun. She's hanging out with Vance, J.D. Vance.
Oh boy.
Really? Secret Service? Do we not trust you enough
Well,
yet?
it's a good thing Mr. Vance is trained in weaponry,
Wow.
so
Yeah, seriously.
at least he can defend himself.
Yeah, let's go off on a little tangent here, just because I am literally obsessed with the attempted assassination of President Trump, which actually apparently was not really an attempted assassination. It was a coronation. It was,
and that's what the Bible says.
God.
It says in Isaiah, he's going to turn the weapons meant for our harm for our good.
That's right. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, but you shall prosper if you get nicked by it on your ear.
Yeah. And then, I mean, it went on and
begin.
on. It took almost half an hour just to describe the precise parallels between what happened to Mr. Trump in those moments and the coronation ceremony.
And these people saying that was scripted. I mean, no, it was scripted by God.
Just happened to turn his head at that second.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Trump, make sure you turn your head at like this exact moment so that you only get your ear. Just be really careful.
What I think really happened, by the way, and part of the reason it went so screwy for the guys that wanted to kill him, is that I think the young guy, who was obviously the stooge, see, they always have...
Yeah, Patsy.
Yeah, they always have the stooge,
Patsy.
at least, and then they... and I've heard a couple other people bring this up too, and they usually have at least one, usually two or three actual professional fire teams.
Exactly.
Those guys would not have missed.
They didn't miss.
Particularly on a follow-up shot. They wouldn't have missed, but because if you saw the video that just came out with the local police,
trying to jump up on the roof.
The young stooge guy saw the police jump up, and so I think what happened is he took his shot early. Right. Whereas what would have happened, what would have been planned, is he may never even have had a chance to take a shot. But then the bullet would have just come from one of the other fire teams.
Exactly.
One of the professional killer fire teams. And that's why it missed.
Yeah. I mean, how stupid do they think we are that we're going to believe that a 20-year-old good boy, never got in any trouble, didn't go to rallies, wasn't even on the internet, wasn't on the internet.
By the way, both of his parents were also psych people.
Yeah, his parents were psychiatrists
That's a little strange.
That's a lot strange.
The last 3 assassination attempts involved either a close relative or current psych treatment of some kind, i.e. brainwashing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Or the
Hinckley?
Yeah, Hinckley. He was already involved in some psych manipulation. And
MK Ultra? No.
Yeah, exactly.
They think we're stupid, but here's the thing now, because of the internet, everyone knows everything. So how do they think they're going to get away with this? I mean, really, like Kimberly Cheadle, first of all, the cocaine. Okay, let's just start there.
By the way, she was in charge of South American assassinations.
Oh, was she?
So
she knows how to do it for Pepsi.
The Pepsi Cola thing was just cover for her South American assassinations.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh. I keep waiting for her to get angry and be like, I'm not taking the fall for you people.
She's probably
come on, Kimberly, come on. tell us
probably
what to
too
do.
scared to get angry.
She's gonna be Clinton sided. I believe she's not long for this world, because if I were her, to watch your reputation be just dragged through that sloped roof comment, she'll never live that one down. I mean, she's done. She's so scary. Yeah, she literally ruined the reputation of all Secret Service forever with that.
I love the
sloped
meme
roof
of
comment.
that cow walking across.
Yes, the cow. Yeah. I mean, no, there's danger there.
It's pretty scary.
Why would she say such a thing? Who's this stupid?
Because she wasn't prepared to have to cover up her own lies.
She should have been prepared, because she knew what was going on.
Well, it's because
Was she a patsy too? Maybe
they've gone. Well, she is now, but I mean, they've gone all these centuries of pulling these things.
Yeah.
These assassinations aren't anything.
Well,
I brought it up
Yeah.
shortly after the shot. Remember, I sent out that text. I brought up the. Oh my God, I shouldn't be saying this on YouTube.
Careful, they're listening.
Okay.
You guys don't like free speech. I know you don't.
Okay,
What's wrong with you?
there were some other pew-pews
Yeah.
that were attempted or executed on other U.S. Prez type guys. It's hard for AI to figure out what that means.
Yeah.
I hope. Anyway, so it's always caught first by AI.
I don't know. You would think, aren't they supposed to be smarter than us, the artificial
Well, a human can pick up
intelligence?
stuff like that easily, but the AI doesn't, and AI requires.
They can't just put in pew pew. Now we say that. Now that's what.
Well,
it
they
means.
might by now.
You would think by now they'd get it. I have my own
Or
language.
maybe we're just talking about something stinky. I don't know. But anyway,
it's all
so
something
we go
stinky.
back to Civil
It
War
stinks
period.
to high heaven. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
I think it was literally that afternoon, or it was the next day, when Honest Abe rejected the loan of lots and lots of money just before he issued the greenbacks instead, which was a federally issued note. But because he turned down the debt slavery, the Babylonian debt slavery,
Therein lies the rub.
he was shot the next day.
Well, I think every presidential assassination, and there's been about 8 of them.
Well,
Something
there
like
was
that.
Mr. Reagan, whose campaign I worked in many years ago,
Right.
and
Look it up,
he
actually.
he had just proposed a investigative committee to establish a new gold standard. This goes back to the difference between God's
That's
form
right.
of money that can't be faked and fake money, which is always faked. Haggai 2:8, we've read that before.
Exactly.
It's God's idea.
It's always
for our
fake.
money.
Yes, exactly.
Is gold and silver.
Mhm.
President K, Mr. Kennedy.
Yep. He
10
also.
10 days after he issued a silver-backed security certificate, which was going to be the basis for the issuance of a new Treasury-issued currency instead of the central bank-issued currency, which is owned by private entities. It's not.
The Fed.
The Fed is not federal. It's never been
Private.
federal.
Always been private.
Yeah, it's literally
The
incorporated.
Titanic is tied to it.
Yeah.
Another scam.
I was just talking with one of my daughters about that the other day.
Yeah.
I lived in when I was 6 years old. I had my 6th birthday on St. Simon's Island,
No.
St. Simon's Island, Georgia, which is right next to Jekyll Island.
Jekyll Island, right?
So I'd been to the Jekyll Island Club many times.
Wow, what's that
So
like?
in
Ooh.
it's not very fancy by today's standards,
Right.
but back then it was where all the billionaires went.
Right.
So now see, we were just coming out of the Industrial Revolution, out of the 1800s, and what triggered the Industrial Revolution was Mr. Trump's hero president, Andrew Jackson. Remember, Andrew Jackson was the last president to end the second central bank in the United States.
And didn't they try to assassinate him as well?
I think so. I mean, they wouldn't have not.
Hello,
I can't
exactly.
recall any details.
I know, my phone's not working here, so I can't look it up. But yeah, but there have been a bunch of assassinations in this country on our presidents, and it's almost always tied to the debt slave system.
I'm not sure there's been a single one that wasn't tied to the debt slave system.
Yeah, and the Jesuits.
To either preserve it or to accelerate it or to allow it to come back, including the Titanic. So just so happened, Mr. J.P. Morgan, so they had this meeting at the Jekyll Island Club. Oh, must have been, do you remember the year the Titanic went down?
I believe it was
It would have been 19-something, 1905 maybe.
Yeah, wait.
1907.
1912 or something like that.
Well, the Federal Reserve Act was passed in 1912.
Okay, well that was before
Christmas
that.
Eve, by the way. There were barely.
I know it was April 15th because it was tax day.
Okay, well the tax.
When the Titanic went down.
Okay, so. But the Jekyll Island Club meeting
that
took
meeting
place
took
about
place
10, 12 months earlier.
Before that, right.
And now there were a half a dozen or so of the wealthiest families in the United States that were on the Titanic.
Right.
And those just happened to be the half a dozen families.
J.P. Morgan, Astor, John Jacob Astor.
Yeah. Now we'll go back to J.P. Morgan, but the Astor family, several other families, went down and died with the Titanic. Just so happens these families were the ones that opposed the central government.
Exactly.
J.P. Morgan
was going to go and did it at the last minute, right?
Literally within 15 minutes of the lines letting loose and sailing.
He was like, "See you later, bye."
I can't. Oh, sorry.
I gotta go.
I'm not going with you guys.
I can't be taking this trip with y'all.
Yeah, and you could get into whoever knows what the heck happened, but I don't know. They shifted names of the boats or something. Maybe it was another White Star. Who knows? But anyway, it just so happened. The fact is undisputable that the other half a dozen of the wealthiest families in the United States that perished on the sinking of the Titanic. They were the families opposed to the Federal Reserve Act.
I'm just making sure that we're still alive here because YouTube isn't gonna like anything we're saying, and only like you guys make some comments so I know we're still alive.
Like when Facebook cut us off Facebook cut our audio off halfway through.
Exactly, so we never really know.
I don't even remember what I was rambling on in the middle of, but they didn't like it.
No, because we're living in a dystopian censorship society.
Well, it's because they have to. They can't defend the undefendable.
They don't want us talking about it, and yet we continue to talk.
Because simply by revealing, by exposing the deception, it destroys their power over people.
Exactly.
The power of deception is destroyed through the revealing of truth. And then
the truth shall set you free.
Exactly, and they have no power anymore.
So.
Because they never did.
So let's get off the tangent now. Let's go back to the money. And so, I mean, we're all being warned something's going to happen. But see, the thing about
something's happening.
We know this, but the thing about this country is it's so big that they can't make something happen all over the country. Oh, of course, unless it's a disease of some sort.
Well,
I'm wrong. I guess I'm wrong about that.
And the fact is, they've already made it happen.
They did. They already did that. What am I thinking?
Not just over the country, but over the entire world.
The entire world. Yeah, I'm going to just shut up now because I was so wrong about that. But my point being, though, is that so whatever fresh hell awaits us, I think it's important that we realize that it's a last desperate attempt.
And well, even better than that, just like the assassination attempt that was meant to kill the next best hope, Mr. Trump, for helping to reorganize everybody. Remember, there's no more, I don't think there's a greater, more gregarious proponent of bankruptcy turnaround than Mr. T.
Absolutely.
Doesn't exist. You could not pick a better guy.
And isn't it funny how after they failed to kill him, then they went and they off Joe Biden just like that. See ya. Do you have COVID? Oh no.
It's because they already knew there was no hope there.
See you later. Bye.
And then, by the way, I hate to say it, and I pray for them, but you know, Miss Kay and the other wacko, they're probably in grave danger.
Oh yeah. Oh, Vietnam.
Well, part of it is they're going to want to blame it on the MAGA crowd. See, they're trying to get a civil war going.
Right. That's their whole, yeah. Like Charles Manson.
It's exactly what happened in the last Civil War. They're trying to get a civil war going to cover up the crimes. They gotta get, if they don't get a war going somehow and keep it going, then they're gonna get, everybody's going to see what they've done. They collapsed.
And we do already see it. Here's the beauty. Exactly. Here's the funniest part. So
we swear we're not doing anything.
The Trump shooter, you know, or shooters or whoever was setting that up, you know, they had like explosives waiting. Apparently they were waiting for the people to run out of the rally in fear and panic. And that never happened. You know why it never happened? Because we're not afraid.
And we're trusting God.
Exactly. We trust in God, and we were concerned about Trump. We were worried about him. And I mean, we weren't there.
People looking at him and looking for the shooter.
Nobody was looking to preserve themselves except for Corey Comparatori, who ran on his family and ended up dying. I mean, that is like crazy. My condolences for that.
Yeah, so they have to try and cover all this up.
But most people didn't move a muscle. They were like, what? You know.
So well, they may not try it if enough of us talk about it, but.
And we should never shut up. Everyone, talk. Get online, even if they try to kick you off. Keep talking.
Well, what I can say is real strange. There's a reliable report that there have been high-speed cameras specially contracted for the Democratic convention in Chicago.
Oh, high-speed cameras, huh?
Now, these high-speed cameras are not, interestingly, now come to whatever conclusion you want to, because if you recall, during Mr. Trump's assassination, that was literally the first Trump event where all the networks were there.
Yep, and covering
it
live.
High-speed cameras.
And we even have the bullet going in.
They caught the bullet. Now, the thing about high-speed cameras, they just want to get higher definition. No. The high-speed cameras do not capture higher definition. They're actually lower definition.
You would think, yeah.
They just capture...
Because they're focused on one little tiny thing.
Right. They just capture higher speed action.
And that's how he got that photo, knowing. See, they know. Like, hello.
They had to document the assassination.
They wanted us to all see Trump get his brains blown out. They wanted that so bad.
They literally wanted that shot of that bullet.
Yeah.
And now the cameras that have already been contracted for and probably already installed right now are high-speed cameras that can catch explosions.
Oh, great.
As in bad explosions.
But, you know, I also wonder, is it even going to be real? Because, and I participated in one of these many years ago in Pittsburgh. They had an event, or they said, come down to the stadium, and we're going to pretend that something happened. You know, they had...
Usually that's just practice for the real thing.
Yes, practice, right. But also you could then turn it around and use it as
a lot of times. Matter of fact, pretty much every time. Yeah. You know, these mass shootings. Oh my God, it's another nutcase. No, it's not a nutcase. It was like, for example,
it's all planned.
Usually, it happened in Las Vegas. It happened in
Las Vegas, so we never learned about that. There's no way one shooter killed all those people. No way in hell.
Oh, it goes beyond that. This particular thing happened in Virginia Beach. I partially grew up in Virginia Beach. Remember, there was a crazed shooter there. It happened at there was a bar somewhere in Southern California where some Marine.
I remember this.
Whatever it was, they didn't manage to hurt as many people, but the same Marine that was at the bar in Southern California was a primary player in Las Vegas.
Uh-huh.
How does that happen?
Well, the same police chief
A
was
2 and 300
the Maui police chief then too.
Yeah. That's right. The
yeah.
Maui police chief was the same one in charge of the investigation in Las Vegas.
Exactly. Looks like we're losing battery power here, so we're gonna have to wrap this up in a minute.
Anyway, so the main thing I felt was important to be expectant on that. Yes, there's horrendous stuff about to happen. I hope you guys have some beans and rice and food and water set
but
aside
don't be
for a couple
afraid,
weeks.
because the
Don't
best
act
is yet
out
to
of
come.
fear.
Yeah,
Exactly. But
Yeah.
the main thing is that on the other side of all this, God, our Father in heaven, is going to turn around what was meant to destroy us and instead use it to free us to a whole new level of literally heaven on earth.
If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
Yeah, pretty much. Don't let it kill you either.
Yeah, don't let it kill you.
Yes.
But you know what? Even if it does, then you get to be with our Father, and I don't think that's a real bad
So
thing.
you really
I'm
can't
not really
lose.
afraid of that either.
So you can't lose no matter
You
what.
cannot lose, but you should fight for this country, because we have grandchildren coming up. You know, I don't have any grandchildren yet, but do you have any grandchildren yet? No. But anyway, someday hopefully we will, and I want this to be a good place for them. You know, I mean,
I'm counting on it.
the legacy that we leave, like, you know, living just for yourself. It's not. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Exactly.
What's that for? You know,
Yeah,
I mean.
so even matter of fact, I was just thinking that thought just occurred to me yesterday. That I actually couldn't. I've done preps and things, done it for years and years. But I could never be motivated to do that for myself. I could only be motivated to do it for my children or for neighbors.
Exactly. If it's only
church.
you, then what are you doing? It's really.
Because I know God's going to take care of me no matter what.
Yeah.
But
there's that,
but what about protecting the innocent?
Right.
The people unaware or willfully or not, and so that's how I feel about that.
But I think the moral of this story is, first of all, I don't think that you need to prep. I think you do need to be prepared and, you know, ways for any storm or anything, you know.
The biggest thing is preparing our heart,
your heart
between us and God the Father.
That's how you prepare.
Because we're all about to learn a whole new level of depending on Him.
That's right. And that's such a good point. And when you have so much faith in the Lord, like, first of all, there is nothing to be afraid of at all. But you're going to see people scared out of their wits, and you just need to realize
that'll be the scariest part.
That will
everybody
be
else scared.
Exactly, kind of like we went through with the pandemic.
And I mean, there's going to be, you know, I've heard reports that there may be as many as 40 cities that are attacked by terror incidents.
Yes, and certainly, and that is going to be scary.
Probably not a lot in Florida and Texas, or at least it won't last long.
Trump gets shot was scary. I was really. I've been kind of like on the edge ever since.
Had you ever heard the Ken Clement prophecies?
About that?
He had them about that.
Oh wow!
Ken Clement said, "I'm going to shake the Democrats. I'm going to God speaking." Through Ken Clement, I'm going to shake the Republicans even more.
Wow.
That just happened. And the whole point of it is it's not shaking us to scare us, it's to shake us to have us look to God.
Right. Get right with the Lord.
Yeah.
And that's how you prepare. And I think that's like the easiest way to end the show today, because really, I don't want you guys to be afraid of all this stuff. And you see it all, and it is a movie. We're watching a movie.
Yeah.
And it's not really.
We're gonna be a bit part in there.
Yes. And it's not really affecting you.
There's
you know,
no part of that.
You have to realize that
it's gonna affect.
Well, it is the money thing, and you are already feeling that. But when I say it's not going to affect you, I mean in your heart, in your soul. It's not going to hurt you.
Well, that's where we're in our secret place between us and God the Father, so that we're living a Psalm 91 life.
Yes.
Where even though we see disaster all around us, it's like we're in the middle of the eye of a hurricane. And I've been in many eyes of hurricanes. Yes, there's disaster everywhere. There's even disaster laying all around us from the edge that just passed,
Right.
waiting for the next edge to come, but that we're unaffected
At
in our
peace.
hearts.
At
We're
peace.
at peace. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, before my thing runs out and I have no more electricity, but thank you so much, Dave. As usual, you make things crystal clear.
Well, I hope there was something encouraging there.
Yeah, and
'Cause
well, we
everybody's gonna need it.
only want to be encouraging,
Yeah.
you know, and we're not afraid
Yes.
of what's coming. Actually, we're super excited.
Well, yeah, because of what's ultimately coming is
Yeah.
going to be so incredible we can't even imagine it. I mean,
Exactly.
God promised that.
Yes.
We just have to make it through the
Right.
big hump.
Right. And you know, it's like anything. I always hear this saying and I hate it, but people say things like, it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Well,
And that's kind of what we're dealing with right
It
now.
will.
But that's okay. I hate it, but you know what? It's just,
Yeah.
it is the way it is. And we've been through some bad stuff, you know. It
And to
happens.
truly turn things around, the old system must die.
It has to die.
The old system.
And it's not
And
going
I've
to go
said it-
down easy.
And I've said it many times.
Yeah.
We're only going to feel pain to the degree that we're currently relying on the old system.
Exactly.
As it's
Kick yourself
extracted.
off of it now. That's something you can do to
Yeah.
prepare. Actually, you can
Yeah.
stop with your, you know, your need for Starbucks or you know things that you think you can't live without.
Yeah, simple things like that.
Give it
and-
up.
and-
Give it up.
Or, you know,
Replace it
obviously
with
it
something
takes time,
healthy.
but I mean,
Yeah.
I've spent the last 15 years in tropical agriculture research, alternatives to
You should
the
see his garden. It's
to
amazing.
the ag business things.
Yeah.
On the money end, figured out how to live without 100% relying on the existing banking system, because those have to go
That's right.
in their present form.
And they will.
Yeah, and things like that.
Things will be a lot different. Life will be a lot different, but I think
but
it'll be a lot nicer, you know?
way nicer.
No, way nicer.
I mean, we're not going to be waking up every morning wondering, oh my God, if my job hiccups for 90 days, I'm on the street.
What fresh
That is-
hell awaits us today?
That is not a way to
Who's
live.
running for president of the Democratic Party? Yeah, anyway, you're right. Those people better watch their backs.
Yeah, that'll all end too. So.
All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to say ciao for now. Thank you so much, Dave, for coming on. It was a great show. I think we got through a lot of good stuff. So tell all your friends and see you guys on the next Beach Report.
Yay.
Bye.